Welcome back to the show. It's always important to think about what you're putting in your body and if you have the proper nutrients. Our next guest is going to help us with just that. We are joined by Sara Awija. She is a registered dietitian and the manager at Elysian Wellness Centre. Welcome back. It's great to have you here. And supplements are important because I think, many of the nutrients we're probably going to discuss today, you can find it in food, but do you find, Sara, it's difficult to get enough of those nutrients within just what we're eating on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So my answer is a little split on that.
Okay.
So generically speaking, you should be able to get a variety of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients through a balanced diet. So if you're eating enough, you should be able to get everything through food. Okay? But if you're looking to treat certain conditions, like you want a deeper sleep, you want to strengthen your immune system, control your blood sugars, then there are certain supplements that you may want to look into to enhance your diet a little further.
I see. And when you say, though, we're getting everything that we need, you're talking about, lots of vegetables and your grains and your proteins and so forth, and many of us, guilty as charged, don't necessarily do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk supplements. I mean, what supplements do you say or nutrients are a must and why? Yeah,
so not everything is bioavailable through food. So even if you have a stellar diet and everything is very balanced, there are certain nutrients you just won't be able to get enough of or just not bioavailable. So vitamin D is actually a quite common one.
Right.
So I actually don't have it up here, but vitamin D is really important because we live in a country where we just don't get enough sun.
Right.
And through food, it's just nearly impossible to get some, and it's so important for energy levels, your immune system, and even mood. Omega-3, which I do have up here, I always recommend to get some omega-3 for all ages. So for children, for adults, the elderly, really good for brain development and to strengthen your immune system.
Right.
And I always recommend liquid format over capsules.
Why is that?
Much better absorption.
Oh, I see.
Much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know some vitamins work well together, and some don't. Is that right? Because I think when we think vitamins, we're like, oh, it doesn't matter what we mix because they're all good for us. Yeah. What are some of the safety concerns? What should we be cautious about?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. A lot of them do interact with each other, or if you're on medication, you should be careful of what you are taking.
Okay.
And not everything on shelf is necessarily healthy and safe.
Right.
I do have turmeric up here for an example.
Right.
So that one is amazing for reducing inflammation in the body, increasing your immune system. It's a really, really good one, especially if you feel a cold coming on to take. But it does interact with Advil, which people don't necessarily think about. And when you have a cold, you're probably going to be taking Advil.
Yeah. So are there adverse effects then?
Yeah, so they're both blood thinners. So if you're to take Advil and turmeric, that is a hemorrhaging risk. So you'll want to take Tylenol instead.
Okay.
So that's a perfect example.
All right, let's look at some other ones here. What else would you like to touch on? Let's talk about the magnesium.
Yeah, magnesium.
You mentioned sleep. This is the one I always hear, right?
Yes.
To get a good
that's
sleep.
Good. You know that. Yeah. So magnesium is an amazing one for deep stages of sleep. And it's important to actually take high doses of it. A lot of times people will grab 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams. That won't be enough to get you into those deep stages of sleep.
Okay.
So I typically say, again, depending on the person, but usually about 500 milligrams. And you'd want to take that an hour before sleep.
Okay.
To get it to kind of work, get into your system, and then you'll get those deeper stages.
Is this one that's difficult to find in foods, magnesium?
It's not difficult to find, but you're not going to get it in enough dosing.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk vitamin B or B vitamins, which there are different types, right? When it comes to B vitamins, I always hear of the B12, B6. Are those the main ones?
Those are the main ones, and again, very important for brain development and warding off dementia. So B complex, you'll get a little bit of everything, and that's what that is there. So again, if you're looking for something specific or you're having low absorption, you may want to look into just the B12 one or B12 shots. So at our clinic, for example, we have B12 shots. We have IV lounge with IV drips where it's just going to be absorbed even better, depending again on what you're looking for.
Right. What about supplements in your immune system? You touched on immune system, and I think, we're probably more thinking about that more and more than ever before, right? How do we protect our immune system? Is there preventive, supplements for our immune system?
Yeah, so a really good one is black seed oil, which is not a common one. Most people have not heard of black seed oil. But that one is really good for strengthening the immune system, and if anything active is going on, like you're having an infection in your lungs, like bronchitis, more in winter months, black seed oil would be really good to cut down on the cough and just have you heal faster. Turmeric, really good for building the immune system, and of course the famous vitamin C that I have here. That one's a really good one for protecting your immune system.
We were talking in the green room, and I said to you, you go into the pharmacy now, and that vitamin section seems to be growing like each passing year. Does it matter what brand that you use or that you take?
That's a very good question, and my favorite question. So all the time I get asked what kind of brand should I get, Sarah? And honestly, it doesn't matter.
Really?
They're all very regulated, pretty much the same, and they need to be safe to be on shelf and certain absorption levels. The real question is what format and how should you be taking it?
Okay.
So as I mentioned, for example, the fish oil, I always recommend liquid. That is much better absorbed than capsules because those become oxidized on shelf.
Right.
Okay. B12, as I mentioned, infusions, shots, much better absorbed than taking the pills. Vitamin D, a lot of times everybody takes the dose all at once, but it's actually much better absorbed when you split it up during the day.
Really? Okay, so how would you recommend taking vitamin D throughout the day?
So let's just say you're taking 3,000 IU. They usually come in 1,000 IU tablets, so you'll want to take 1,000 IU at every single meal.
Okay.
To make up the 3,000, much better absorbed. So the real question is, how should you be taking it? And, when, and as well as if it's interacting with anything, because the brands, honestly, they're all going to have the basic requirements.
Right. And then I think that actually is encouraging to people and refreshing because you wonder, is the sort of the no-name brand going to be just as effective? And you're saying it is. So we don't necessarily have to worry about that at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, if there's deficiencies or, you may need higher doses or IV.
And to see somebody like yourself is important.
Exactly.
So I encourage you, you can visit the website, find out more information. We'll be right back.